So you were with like a reptile rescue in Australia? Or
I was a snake catcher. We were doing all the reptiles over there. Monitor lizards and crocodiles. That gets really tricky trying to remove a venomous snake off a glue trap. I got to work with inland taipans, coastal taipans. The coastal taipan is considered the third most venomous snake on planet Earth, drop for drop. I got to work with red-bellied black snakes, eastern browns. That was just in Australia. I have a little bit of experience with cobras and rattlesnakes.
911, what is your emergency?
We've got a snake stuck to some tape, and if we don't get him off of there, he's gonna die.
We're dispatching a reptile expert right away.
This is Sean, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
I just have a pretty extensive background working with reptiles in various fashions. Spent a couple years in Australia doing snake catching and reptile rescue. And you guys called me over here today because you guys had a tiny gopher snake, baby gopher snake that was stuck to a piece of masking tape. We're going to use some avocado oil to get it off the tape, and probably have to care for it for a few weeks, potentially through the winter since it's so cold here. So we'll see what we get into there.
And I found this little tiny snake stuck to a piece of tape this morning in Dee Dee's house. This is Dee Dee over here. We just happened to be walking down the steps to the laundry room when I saw a snake actually stuck right to the masking tape because there's some painting and renovation going on in this place. We're going to try and get this snake off the tape because he is hopelessly stuck.
Yeah, he's stuck pretty good.
I warmed up the oil a bit.
Avocado oil.
Avocado
It's
oil.
not hot, right?
75 degrees maybe.
It's this warm, if you want to feel the temperature.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so he's squirming around. Little
really
snakes.
buggered yourself here, didn't you, mate?
He's really stuck bad. So we don't want to rip his skin. We don't want to hurt him. So Sean's just going to gently try and nudge him little by little off that tape. Got the oil on the tape.
Oh, poor guy. You just have to put it, let it sit for a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I kind of just gotta. We had snakes in Australia that were constantly getting stuck on like rodent glue traps.
Oh.
We would just do the same thing with oil, and
Does it take a while for
it does just take a while. Yeah, it's slow. You just gotta make sure they don't get reattached to the tape after you get a portion off.
There's no good place to put this. I have a headlamp. Would that help?
Oh, I think I got enough light here. Maybe a month, 2 months tops.
So he's only 2 months old. So he really is truly a baby.
First thing I look for is to see if there's a rattle on the end. And then I quit freaking and then I go, oh, cute little guy.
Looks like he's getting him loosened a little bit. Ooh. Little by little.
Where's his head?
Right here by my.
Okay.
Yeah, his head's stuck too. His lower jaw is stuck to the tape.
Poor little guy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this could just take a little while. We don't want to rush him.
Yeah, his mouth's really stuck. So we're trying to rescue him, trying to get the rest of him off that tape. It just takes time.
Fortunately, it's not the stickiest tape.
So you've done a lot of this with snakes on, what'd you say, sticky?
Sticky traps. They're for rodents. In Australia, we would constantly get called out to calls where they were on a sticky trap.
So you were with like a reptile rescue in Australia, or what?
I was a snake catcher, so yeah, we were doing reptiles over there.
Get them down here.
Monitor lizards and crocodiles.
So there's a shot of his head being stuck. Sean got a lot of the rest of the body off, but we're still trying to get the head off of there and the front part.
This is avocado oil. Is there any better or worse oil to use?
I'd be using vegetable oil, which avocados exactly that.
So you just gotta gently nudge him little by little by little, huh?
Yeah, this can be a process. This is a lot less sticky than the glue traps that I'm familiar with. They were tough. Sometimes we'd have to let them soak for an hour before they even had a chance.
So because we're going into winter, we can't really put him back outside, right? He'll just freeze to death.
No, I'm at the very least gonna have to keep an eye on this little guy for a few weeks. It's just too late in the season for it to be going outside.
How long he's been there, do you have any idea?
Well, he's got quite a bit of energy, so I'd say no more than a day or two.
They don't go down to the basement that often, so probably down for a couple of days. But sorry, little guy, I hate to put this light in your eyes.
Is that where he was down in the basement?
Just at the top of the stairs where I had it masked off to paint.
Yeah, and we were walking down there, and I looked and I saw the snake attached to the tape. So I was like, huh, I don't know. I kind of poked him a little bit, see if he was alive. At first I thought he was dead. But then he moved just a tiny bit, and I thought, oh, he's alive. We gotta save this guy.
Keep your light without shining in his eyes too much.
Well, you're not gonna bother him.
He'll be quite happy when he's free, though.
So if you can't put him outside, what do you feed him? This is just amazing to have the snake expert.
Oh, at this age, they would just be eating insects, and they really shouldn't even be eating this time of year. Like I said, they should be going into a brumation, which is it's like a reptile's version of hibernation. They just slow down their metabolisms and ride out the winter.
After the brumation, they come out in late spring, early spring?
Early spring, and then by late spring they would be breeding.
Is it the same as a bull snake? I know nothing about these, except he doesn't have a rattler, so I'm so scared.
There's a difference.
We've got him almost released from the tape, not quite. Last little bit here.
Probably need some more oil.
Still stuck. Yeah, we've got to put a little more oil. Just gently nudge him off that tape, that last little bit.
Oh, I see. There's a lot of oil on the tape. He's just pushing it under. Now, what's this guy's name gonna be?
I don't know.
Whatever kind of masking tape I have.
I think we'll name him Sticky.
That's probably an appropriate name at this point. Sticky Noodle.
Call him Sticky G, Sticky Gopher.
Oh, he's almost got himself off here.
He's almost off.
Well, you're lucky, little guy, because how often do you have a professional snake rescue person right down the road? Okay, this is going to be another not so brilliant question because I know nothing about snakes. So, would this be a guy or a girl, or is there any way to know?
Oh, I would have to potentially probe it to find out.
Okay.
I'm not going to stress it out any more than it already is.
There's no markings or anything to give it
No,
away.
sometimes you can kind of tell by the way the tail's shaped, but
You got to check.
at this age, not being an adult, you would have to probe it to find out.
If it were an adult, you'd have to check the cloaca, right?
Yeah, that's how you do it. You probe the cloaca. It takes a little tool.
He's almost there, little buddy.
So what? You'll have to take care of him.
Oh, we got him
Hey,
free.
there
All right.
he is.
There you go.
Oh. Yeah, he's about 16 inches long.
Paper towel or something I can put some oil on and try to
Yeah.
take some of the glue off him.
Okay.
Here, just kind of hold him so we can see him.
What would you like for a little container for him?
You have a little Tupperware or something? You can put some paper towels in the bottom of.
I had this. I usually keep this around for catching spiders off of flat surfaces, but
All right, we had a successful rescue, snake rescue, thanks to Sean here, snake expert. And now we have a very happy and lively snake.
I don't know if he's happy yet.
Well, he's probably happier than when he was stuck to the tape.
You got glue on your head, mate.
He's got glue on his head.
Yeah. You're not gonna like this, but we gotta do it.
So what are you gonna do now?
I'm just gonna hold him by the head and try to take some of this glue off here.
Just rub the oil on his head a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Try and erase some of that glue off the top of his head. Get a little bit of oil on him. He's got a little bit of glue stuck on him from the tape still. So we're just putting a little oil over the skin, trying to release that stickiness that's still on him.
And that's his new name.
His new name is Sticky.
Sticky G.
Sticky G.
What's the G for?
Gopher.
Oh, okay, that's right. So you think his jaw's a little off?
I don't think it's damaged to the point where he can't correct it. It's just sitting a little funny.
If he was stuck for a day or two, would it just kind of be, spasm to the side or something?
Yeah, it's not uncommon for their jaws to get slightly displaced. They can usually put them back.
When they're swallowing their prey, they have to unhinge their jaw, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, like you're saying, he can do a bit of a yawn and get that jaw back in place.
That's exactly what we're hoping. There he goes. He's yawning.
Is he going to go
He's
up your
yawning?
sleeve? Your sleeve looks like a real nice place to cave into.
All I can hope is that if I give him a light source of heat, that he'll start eating and just forget that it's winter.
Yeah, because it's death right now to put him outside.
Yeah.
So we can't release him because it's too cold. So you could take him and give him a little rehab for a bit. He probably won't eat much. If he might eat a little bit.
I'm skeptical that he would eat this time of year, but like I said, if I give him a light source of heat, there's a chance that it'll kind of wake up that whole digestion system.
Are they okay then to go into go over a winter not brumating, but then go into another year, or do they need that rest cycle?
No, they don't really need it. It's a survival mechanism for them when it gets cold. So I'm sure if it was up to him, it would be nice and warm all year long.
He looks happier.
So at this time of year, normally he'd be down in a burrow a couple of feet under the ground, huh?
Yeah.
But he found his way inside the house and got stuck on the tape instead.
So when's the last time you had a snake in your hands?
It's been a few months.
At least this one's not poisonous like that humongous whatever it was you had on.
Taipan.
So in Australia, you'd get a lot of venomous snakes stuck inside the houses.
That gets really tricky trying to remove a venomous snake off a glue trap. In fact, there was a time or two where we had to essentially oil up the head so that we could get the head free first. And we would get just enough of the head off the glue trap that we could stick the head in a tube. We call it a snake tube. And so
I was going to ask if there was some sort of...
At that point, the key is to just make sure the head stays in the tube while you're working the rest of the body.
Right.
It's easier said than done. I think I got most of the glue off them. I'm glad it was masking tape, because any other tape, that could have been a lot worse.
What sort of venomous snakes did you remove in Australia? What were the different types?
Oh, I got to work with inland taipans, coastal taipans. I got to work with red-bellied black snakes, eastern browns. That was just in Australia. I have a little bit of experience with cobras and rattlesnakes.
Where did you work with cobras?
That was here in the States, actually. A good buddy of mine is a venomous keeper in San Diego, and so I got to work with some of his snakes. He's got a couple monocle cobras, and he's got a green mamba and some other ones that I got to work with. But most of my experience with venomous snakes was in Australia.
Is there a little bit of sticky on him still there where you're
I
rubbing?
think I got most of the glue off. I'm just worried about his jaw. It's still not sitting right on the right side there.
So we're hoping he's gonna get his jaw back into place. It's just a little bit off, but they can unhinge their jaws to a big degree, and hopefully he'll do that and get it back in proper place.
Yeah, he was stuck on one side of his face.
I think he'll be alright. He'll come good.
Right now he's got himself in a defensive posture, so he's got energy.
He doesn't like being in a
He's
yogurt
just not
container.
happy right now being in the container.
So many reptiles on the road at night that
They go there for the warmth of the road. Or...
Yeah, that's what it was, the warmth of the road. And so, yeah, we would specifically just take drives at night and check the roads. And anytime we saw something, we'd stop and pull it off the road.
And this was in Australia?
Yeah.
And then what happened with the kangaroos and such, you were
I was saying all the marsupials have pouches, and oftentimes they have joeys. And so whenever we would come across something that had died on the road or recently been hit by a car, we would stop and we would check the pouch to see if there was a joey inside. Their jaws are typically so fragile as a joey, a young joey, that you can't just rip them off the teeth. You actually have to take a knife or scissors or something and cut the nipple off of the mother in order to remove the joey from the pouch. And then obviously the joey would go into care We would go to a wildlife rescue where they'd raise it and eventually let it go. It was probably more than 1 in 5. In all reality, it was probably closer to 50% of them would have a joey. Obviously, sometimes depending on how long the mother had been dead on the side of the road, sometimes the joeys would be dead too. But I would say almost half of them probably had a joey in them. Wombats, kangaroos, wallabies would often find joeys in the pouches.
And you were able to raise these babies?
Yeah, I mean, it was more I was helping some carers that were very experienced in doing exactly that. It was all very new to me at the time. I had a lot of cool pictures.
I think he's gotten his jaw in a little better place, possibly. He's moving it more.
There it goes. You finally seated it. That's what we wanted right there.
Just now.
So he just seated the
Just
jaw
now, did it?
Yeah.
as we were filming. That's cool. So he's good to go now.
Yeah, theoretically, he should be good.
So good to eat. But
Give
can't
him
go
some
outside
heat and
'cause
some
he's-
warmth and
it's freezing
see
outside.
if he'll have a snack.
So maybe he'll eat, and then maybe he'll just want to bromate.
What would they typically be eating now? And what can you feed them?
At
till
this
he's
size, it'd
recuperating?
be insects and very small lizards.
So do they do flies and things like that?
I would imagine these guys would probably have a hard time catching flies.
I would think like crickets, grasshoppers, that kind of thing, although there really aren't any left around here now.
Are those too big for a little guy?
No, I think he could eat a cricket, no problem, right?
Yeah, we'll see if he goes for some mealworms. Ironically, my buddy who lives close by has a bearded dragon, which is an Aussie lizard. And that guy eats mealworms, so we'll see if this guy has any interest in some mealworms today.
He's doing his defensive
He missed it.
pose right now.
He missed
So
it.
he's about, what, maybe a foot long?
I'd say 12 inches, yeah.
Oh, took a shot at you. He's like, he's got no teeth.
You feisty.
Yeah, he's got some energy
You
now.
feisty little guy.
He's active, yeah.
Yeah, he's all warmed up and ready to go.
I have this that has it's upside down, but if he slithers along there, this is 16 inches long. Oh my goodness. Ah.
Ow.
Oh wow.
You're
Okay,
feisty
well
little guy.
don't piss him off too much. He's wasting his energy.
Yeah, getting them measured is sometimes easier said than done.
Tell me about this taipan.
Oh, I was just telling the story of this coastal taipan that I caught in Australia. It was, this guy was like a farmer. He had a big metal tin shed on his property, and that's where he found the snake or whatever. So when I got there, I found the snake, I tailed it, but I'd say the top third of this snake's body was kind of wrapped around the tin of this building, trying not to be pulled out of the building essentially. And unfortunately in the process, this snake ended up getting quite a big gouge on its mouth, like right at its jawline back, and it was a pretty severe gash on this snake. And so I took it straight to a vet, and these particular vets were pretty amazing. They slowed the snake down with some sort of medication, and they ended up putting 4 stitches in the side of the snake's head. The coastal taipan is considered the 3rd most venomous snake on planet Earth, drop for drop. And yeah, they stitched this thing up and made a repair job, and I got some pretty good photos of the stitch work on the snake, and then we ended up letting it go pretty close to the property where we found it. And it was just pretty fascinating that there was vets out there that were willing to do a stitch job on the face of a snake that's so toxic and dangerous. I thought that was really impressive.
Well, I would say to those vets, good on you, mate.
Yeah.
Because I was down in Australia, right?
Yeah,
So
that's the words to use for sure. I was just mentioning how in Australia I found it really sad to see how oftentimes people were taking shovels or heavy objects to snakes that were essentially completely harmless and were only helping to keep the rodent population at bay on their property. Children's pythons and amethystine pythons and things like that. So beneficial to have on the property, but yeah, most people don't know that. They see a snake and their first thought is to pull out a shovel and put it into it.
But they actually clear out the rodents, right?
Yeah, they're
The mice and rats.
They're really good at keeping rodent populations at bay. Yep, mice and rats.
As they say down under, she'll be right, mate. And this snake is doing all right.
She'll be right.
Well, this is a snake story with a happy ending. So I hope you enjoyed watching this and learning a little bit about snake rescue. Don't forget to give me a like on the video, share, and subscribe. Till next time, this is Rockhopper. We'll see ya.